Good evening, everyone. I, Renu Chawla, Project Assistant, welcome you all on behalf of ANON Global Foundation for the final presentation session for the 3 weeks internship program offered by ANON. I am sure all the interns must have their best of efforts in these 15 days training program and has an extraordinary experience while working on their topics. I welcome our jury members, Ms. Aparna Sahai, a retired civil servant and an activist championing the cause of gender equality, good governance, and sustainable development. She has her specialization in environment, gender, education, and governance. Currently, she is serving as Secretary Sandhan, which is Society for Study of Education and Development, a technical resource institution with pan-India presence. She is also a chairman of Sara and Manthan, which is an NGO in Rajasthan involved in social action for rural advancement through natural resource management. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I would also love to introduce Dr. Jyoti Bajaj. She is a gold medalist, special educator from Lady Irwin College, Delhi University, and gold medalist, physiotherapist from Kurukshetra University. She is working as special educator and counselor with DPS Rohini since last 5 years. She excels in promoting mental health awareness and training and has conducted several training programs, webinars, and interactive sessions with students, parents, and teachers on the subject. I thank both the jury members for their valuable time. We have with us team Fast and Furious with us who will be sharing their ideas on the topic Stretch Your Comfort Zone. The team is mentored by Palak Khattar. We have Fida Shireen from Kerala, Lakshay Mittal from Uttar Pradesh, Purvi Agarwal from Rajasthan, Prathishta Shukla from Delhi, and Rishika Goyal from Delhi. Now, I request the team to please come forward and kindly start the presentation.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank ANON Global Foundation and YWCF India for giving us this opportunity to explore this topic, to learn so many things. I would also like to thank the jury members for taking out the time and seeing our presentation today. I know it must be a tedious job to view all these 1 hour presentations, but you're still here. So I would like to thank you for that. So I will be sharing my screen and then introduce my team. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm hoping it's visible.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so our topic is stretching your comfort zone, and our team name is Fast and Furious. Before I explain the topic, I'd like to explain the team name, why we chose this name. So basically, I'm going to be honest. Fast and Furious is a movie. We must have heard of it. So we chose this name because in that movie, everybody is very passionate about what they're doing, and they break out the stretch their comfort zones and do things which they are afraid of doing, but they still do it. So they're very passionate and dedicated about what they like. So keeping that in mind, we kept the topic Fast and Furious, so that because we thought that whatever new that we are trying, whenever we're trying a new activity, whenever we're trying to stretch our comfort zone and doing something that lies beyond it, we should do it with full passion, with full dedication, and we should always put in all our efforts. So that was the meaning behind the name. So our topic is stretching your comfort zone, and I'm so glad that we got this topic because it is such a relevant topic for students of our age. Because this is the time when we usually explore different activities. This is the time when we have the chance to explore as many activities and see where our interest lies. But most of the times we're too afraid to do them because I don't know, we fear change. We have the normalcy and the things being constant is so normal to us that any kind of change that we view is somehow feared. And we need to remove that notion of change being feared so that we can stretch our comfort zone, because change is inevitable, and change is always happening. We are always evolving, we are always growing as a person. So yeah, so our presentation hopes to do that. So I hope you like it, and I'll just introduce the team. I am the mentor, Palak Khattar. We have Pratishtha Shukla, Lakshya Mittal, Purvi Agarwal, Rishika Goyal, and Fida Shirin. Before we begin, we have a small introductory video. I'll just share sound.
Haven't we all had to experience changes at some point in our life? Haven't we all had to do something that made us overwrought, flummoxed, and scared? I am certain that every person has had such an experience. However, this is instrumental in helping us develop.
How, though? Come to think of it, I have a lot more questions. What is it called when we aren't comfortable doing something? How do we become better at doing things that scare us? Oh my.
Don't worry. Let us watch a presentation about the same made by Lakshay, Pratishtha, Fida, Purvi, Rishika, along with their mentor Palak.
Now I'd like to hand over the floor to Pratishtha.
Honestly, I'm just so incredibly nervous right now. I've never done something like this before. I feel like leaving the meeting. That is how it feels like when you try to cross your comfort zone. But before that, it is crucial that we define the comfort zone. So let us begin. Defining the comfort zone. Now, the comfort zone is formally defined as a behavioral state within which a person operates in an anxiety-neutral condition using a limited set of behaviors to deliver a steady level of performance, usually without a sense of risk. So many scientific terms. Let us break it down. Behavior refers to response to any stimulus. The comfort zone consists of a limited set of responses to already familiar or acquainted stimuli. That is why we are able to deliver a steady level of performance without a sense of risk. This is also the reason why we operate in an anxiety-neutral condition. In other words, any sort of stimuli do not elicit fear response from us. The word comfort zone was coined by Alasdair A.K. White in the year 2011. In fact, he wrote a paper on it titled From Comfort Zone to Performance Management. Now, the entire paper is quite humongous, so I will be discussing the fulcrum of it. That consists of three main points. So let us begin. Firstly, whenever you try some sort of new activity, your performance can either lie in the optimal performance zone or in the danger zone. Now, whenever we try a new activity, we get somewhat anxious, right? If the anxiety attains a certain optimum level, then our performance in fact improves. That is said to lie in the optimal performance zone. However, if the anxiety and fear cloud us, our performance declines, and that lies in the danger zone. Now, I would like to move on to the second point. Secondly, the objective is in fact to push the subject into optimal performance zone till they are able to deliver an increased level and a consistent level of performance. And when they finally manage to do it, it means they have expanded their comfort zones. Thirdly, we also must understand that when a person reaches the optimal performance zone and attains the optimum level of arousal, even in the beginning, it can take time to adjust to the enhanced anxiety levels. So there can be a decline in the performance in the beginning, followed by a sharp rise. Now, let us move on to the next topic. the coping cycle given by Carnell in 1990. This is the foundation for the paper given by Alasdair A.K. White. The coping cycle talks about how people in fact respond to change. We'll start with the first stage, that is denial, where people deny the need for change. They may say something like that, something like, I'm happy with my comfort zone. But this is a response that is brought out of fear. If they are, however, still coerced to continue with the new activity, their performance can land in the danger zone. The second stage is defense, where people try to point out the flaws in the change. They may say that the change won't work and that it is wrong, absolutely erroneous. But with enough effort, we land to stage 3, where people discard and abandon the old ways of doing things and commit to the new working methods or invent new ways of acting. But they have not completely shed their inhibitions as of yet. There is a lack of confidence, but with group support, they will be able to develop that. Moving to stage 4, that is adaptation, where people are able to attune and align themselves to the change. They spend significant time finding how to make the things work and finally reach stage 5, internalization. In other words, they have finally expanded their comfort zones. They have adopted and adapted the new working methods. Now let us move to the next topic that I like to call the Great Contradiction. It sounds like a philosophical term, but it really isn't. Firstly, I have 2 questions. The first question, why should we cross our comfort zone? We should cross our comfort zone because staying in the comfort zone for a really long time can make us feel unmotivated. Humans need some sort of excitement and uncertainty. However, at the same time, people do not cross their comfort zones because comfort zones provide a sense of equanimity, right? And people are scared of uncertainty. So I'll be talking about the dual nature of uncertainty. Now, why is uncertainty so frightening? Let us understand with the help of a research. A team of researchers published an experiment on the relationship between uncertainty and stress. The volunteers for this experiment played a computer game requiring them to overturn rocks that might have snakes hidden under them. If a snake appeared, a painful electric shock was delivered. The participants then tried to learn the habit of the snake population to avoid shocks. But this type of uncertainty was called irreducible uncertainty because they could never really know if a rock had a snake hidden under it until they overturned it. This research brought 3 conclusions. The first of them being that whenever stress maxed out, that all measures of stress maxed out, in fact, when uncertainty was highest. First conclusion. Second, when predictability was at 50%, when people had absolutely no clue what was to come, stress peaked. The third being uncertainty is more stressful than predictable negative consequences. Now the question is, why does uncertainty cause stress? I'll answer the same. Now, our brain is a very convoluted structure, right? And a structure of our brain and a particular structure of a brain called the striatum is also the reward center of the brain. Now, striatum is responsible for anticipating good as well as bad consequences. But not only that, it predicts the odds of the good and the bad consequences. But when you're uncertain about something, when predictability is at 50%, it alarms your striatum. In other words, uncertainty alarms your striatum. Secondly, whenever striatum is alarmed because of uncertainty, dopamine is released into the striatum. And this can cause your pupils to dilate, it can cause you to shiver, and other such things. Now we'll talk about dopamine in greater depth. Dopamine is often associated with pleasure, but that is not the only thing. Increase in dopamine has often been noted to be the cause of anxiety disorders, etc. So let us discuss that as well. The dopamine transmission in the human striatum during monetary reward tasks was a research conducted on April 28, 2018. And this showed that some areas of our brain show increase in dopamine release during unpredictable condition, whereas some show decrease in dopamine. And we must understand, as I said, dopamine simply does not elicit pleasure. It is also responsible for learning and motivation, which is something that propels us to move out of our comfort zone. So there are four reasons why we react the way we do to uncertainty. Firstly, our striatum gets alarmed and rings. Secondly, dopamine is released into the striatum, which is why our pupils expand, we start shivering. Thirdly, dopamine increases in some parts of our brain while it decreases in others. And fourthly, dopamine is related to learning and motivation. Now, this cannot be the only reason why people don't step out of their comfort zones, right? Exactly. The next speaker, Lakshay, will be talking about the same. So I would like to give my mic to him.
Are people scared of crossing their comfort zone? The answer is a big yes. People are scared of even stepping out of the comfort zone. Research has demonstrated that a state of relative comfort creates a consistent and steady performance. However, relative anxiety, a state where a stress level is higher than normal, can maximize your performance. Conversely, too much anxiety drops your productivity off. So here comes the question, why do people fear of crossing the comfort zone? It is due to the fear of unknown. People usually fall into a place where they stagnate called comfort zone and avoid undertaking anything new. Most people do not like the unusual. Why is it so? Because fear, uncertainty, and the unknown take over in their minds. In trying new things, people are afraid of their actual beliefs clashing with the new or the unknown, putting them into uneasy situations and over things they have no control over. I believe it is safe to say that change is inevitable as we are changing on a daily basis, in a sense, minute by minute. Considering the evolution of life guarantees that we will all encounter change and go through changes on the most basic level of existence, as there is no escaping to the aging process. Aging is an unconscious change, a natural process, and an expected course of life. In my experience, I have noticed that people are more comfortable with being conscious of change when a reward is not attached. Why do we fear change? The process of change takes place out of the comfort zones, and that's what most people fear. We are more comfortable with the idea of change than the process of change. In the case of a planned change, we attach positive meaning to the experience and look forward to the expected event, whether it's starting a new job, going on vacations, or setting New Year's resolutions. With this perspective, change can be just as gratifying as it is scary. People fear change based on the thoughts, beliefs, ratings which they have assigned to the fear, that is, in between the comfort zone and danger. Overcoming the fear of change can be as difficult as overcoming a fear of failure. I mean, like untangling your earbuds when you are in a hurry. But if a change makes you nervous, you must understand that you are hardly alone and that it's a very natural discomfort in our lives. Now, I like to discuss some case studies. One study had a group of old people viewing a painting that they were told was done in 1905. The next group of younger people viewed the same painting. The older group rated the painting much more aesthetically pleasing than the other group. We like that which has been around for a while. That's the obvious reason for why we don't like change. We also fear change because we fear that we might lose what's associated with that change. Our aversion to loss can even cause logic to fly out the window. That is why research shows that gamblers at a horse track who are having a losing day are most likely to bet the long shots at terrible odds on the last race of the day. They are faced with the realization of loss and are willing to bet on a horse with 20:1 odd, a bet they would never walk in thinking they would make, all because of our violent aversion to loss. Now we'll discuss about one of the many activities in which people face difficulty to step out of the comfort zone. That is glossophobia. Glossophobia, a really cool and geeky name for the fear of public speaking, appears when you are performing or expecting to perform an oral presentation or a speech in front of other people. Fear of public speaking is frequently but incorrectly cited as people's biggest fear. But fear of public speaking is often not the biggest fear. There are many other things that people are really scared of. Nevertheless, fear of public speaking is very common. Approximately 74% of people report experiencing it. Fear of public speaking can prevent you from taking risks to share your ideas, to speak about your work, and to present your solutions to problems that affect many people. And as a result, it can affect how much you grow personally as well as professionally, and how much impact you can have. At the same time, any negative public speaking will make it less likely that you will speak in public in the future. Fear teaches you to protect yourself from risky situations.
It all started at my first day of school. I was busy sketching, and all of a sudden, I hear a voice in my direction, the teacher. Danish, can you please rise up and introduce yourself? She had put me on the spot. How would you feel when a teacher puts you on the spot? And that was the first time I felt the fear of speaking in front of others. The first time I felt the fear of public speaking.
Public speaking is one of the problems that comes up most often for people with social anxiety. And if you think about it, if I have social anxiety, I'm greatly concerned about how other people view me.
Why are we afraid of public speaking? Fear of public speaking is not so much related to the quality of a speech as it is to how the speaker feels, thinks, or acts when faced with speaking in public. There are many reasons why people become afraid when having to speak in public. The theories exploring fear of public speaking have identified four contributing factors: physiology, thoughts, situations, and skills. Now, I'll briefly explain each of these factors. Physiology. Fear and anxiety involve the arousal of the autonomic nervous system in response to a potentially threatening stimulus. Eventually, it prevents people from pursuing opportunities for public speaking. Thoughts. The fear often arises when people overestimate the stakes of communicating their ideas in front of others, viewing the speaking event as a potential threat to their credibility, image, and chance to reach an audience. Negative views of oneself as a speaker. Situations. There are certain situations that are likely to make most of us more anxious when presenting in a public forum, such as lack of experience, degree of evaluation, new audiences, and new ideas. Skills. While many people consider themselves naturally good speakers, there is always room for growth. The people who work on these skills instead of relying on natural talent are the speakers who stand out the most. Now, I would like to hand over the stage to my teammate Rishika.
Thanks, Lakshay. As Pratishtha and Lakshay already discussed about uncertainty, fear of rejection, lack of confidence, etc., are barriers that prevent us from stepping out of our comfort zone. However, when we have indeed tried to overcome these factors and have reached the second zone, fear zone, people behave differently. Is it true? Yes, it is completely true. People behave differently. But why is it so? The two main aspects are childhood and the environment that an individual has. So, the question number one which arises is, does childhood affect our ability to step out of comfort zone? Well, childhood is basically referred to as learning age, where an individual learns from his elders and parents how to talk and walk. Our society is generally not very ambitious and therefore they are not familiar with the concept to gain more, and also they taught the children to being satisfied with whatever they had. Hence, sometimes the upbringing of the child also affects the ability to stretch their comfort zone. A survey conducted by the team Fast and Furious, we found that 79.4% people believed that the childhood and upbringing of an individual affects their ability to step out of their comfort zone.
Do you know how birds learn to fly? The mother that feeds them keeps moving away from them further and further till the baby leaves the nest and falls off the branch. Slowly, the baby realizes if it spreads its wings, it can slow down the fall. If it flaps its wings, it can break the fall. And that's how the falls turn into flights. If you need to fly, leave your nest. Don't worry about the falls. And one day, you shall fly high. Do you know how birds learn to fly?
As it is always said that a journey of 1,000 miles can be covered with a single step, and I personally believe that this single step should be taken from the childhood itself, so an individual have the capability to cover the entire journey of his life. The second question arises, does environment affect our ability to step out of comfort zone? Society. Many people are afraid of stepping out of their comfort zone just because they are afraid of being bullied or laughed at. As it is always said, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग? So many people do not stretch their comfort zone because they are being afraid of being bullied. When a person is being bullied or criticized by his or her schoolmates, business colleagues, or society, then all these activities forces the person to live in his or her shell, and he she will not be able to explore new activities because they are afraid of being bullied or laughed at. But on the other hand, if a person has supportive friends, family members, class fellows, and an encouraging society, then all of these aspects increases the self-confidence of an individual, and she will be able to take up positive paths in their life. And also they are empowered to fight with their fears. In research, we found that 46% of people do not step out of their comfort zone just because they are afraid of being bullied or laughed at, and 83.3 people believe that a person can step out of their comfort zone and take up positive paths in his life posit- if he has supportive friends and family members. Anxiety. Now, what anxiety is, where it comes from, let's learn it with a brief. Anxiety is generally of two types, anxiety and anxiety disorder. Anxiety is a normal reaction to stress or difficult times, whereas anxiety disorder is an intense or disproportionate emotional response. Anxiety triggers by a specific stressor, whereas anxiety disorder often comes out of nowhere.
Pass this exam. I don't even want to show up.
I was so uncomfortable at that party. It was hard for me to breathe and I got all sweaty. I had to leave.
I won't go to sleep or leave the house unless I've made sure the stove is off and the doors are locked. Sometimes I do this 3 or 4 times.
I have to get to the airport 5 hours early. You just never know what might happen.
Have you noticed one thing in the video? The people are different, but their reaction and behavior is same. Why is this so? Because all of them are facing anxiety. Now, what anxiety is? Anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear or apprehension about what's to come. Some common symptoms of anxiety includes nervousness, restlessness, or being tense, feeling of danger, panic, or dread. Fear and anxiety are interrelated. When faced with fear, most people experience the physical reaction that are described under anxiety. And when people have anxiety, it can also cause fear. Now, I would like to hand over the stage to my fellow group member, Fida. Firstly, I would also like to explain the survey analysis. So, in this, the survey shows the pie chart in which we ask the question when you were first exposed to an activity that lie beyond your comfort zone, how did you respond? 26.5% people responded that they were very nervous but participated nonetheless. 19.6% said that they were nervous but participated nonetheless. 9.8% people tried to make excuse to avoid the situation. 32.4 people participated enthusiastically, whereas the blue part shows none. Here is the second pie chart, which shows the percentage of people if they are guilty in their life for not stepping beyond their comfort zone. Well, 46.1% people are not guilty for not stepping beyond your comfort zone, but 53.9% people really feel guilty in their life for not stepping beyond their comfort zone. The third question is, do you think the kind of encouragement you got from your peers, parents, and teachers were important in helping you stretch your comfort zone? Well, 83.3% people believe yes, it is important.
whereas 16.7% people believe it doesn't.
Learning zone and growth zone. First of all, let's see what is learning zone. Learning zone is a bridge between fear zone and growth zone. This zone extends our comfort zone by ability to learn. It deals with challenges and problems and prepares us to fight against it and move to forward. It is an interesting area dealing with challenges and problems and acquiring new skills. Here we will be aware of our opportunities and will be able to make decisions to face challenges in life. It helps in achieving the life goals. For example, if we say in daily life, a person with homesickness moves to a hostel life where first he feels problems, challenges, and all, but within days he or she adapts to it with the lifestyle and learns to cope with it. Next, let us take a look on growth zone. It is a famous zone where you will achieve your main objectives and also be able to become more ambitious to add new ones. This zone brings about confidence and positivity in oneself. It helps in achieving exceptional success. To survive in this zone, one should remain humble, persistent, and mentally strong. Finally, the motto of the zone is to bring about dreams into reality. Let us look into growth zone with a little video.
Hi everyone, it's Yanis here, and in this video we will explore what is growth zone. Living your life in the comfort zone is not an option if you want to achieve your goals. So let's take a look at what needs to be done. If this is your first time on this channel, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates on my latest videos about time management and productivity. Growth zone is the mindset where you operate with an attitude to consistently push yourself further to reach your goals. There are 4 zones that we can choose to operate in: comfort zone, fear zone, learning zone, and growth zone. First, comfort zone. Here people feel safe and in control, but the problem is that there is no progress and growth in your comfort zone. Many people choose to live in their comfort zone because it's comfortable and easy. Unfortunately, people don't feel happy here as they can't reach their goals. Second, fear zone. People who step outside their comfort zone often move into fear zone, where they meet with the outside world. But when something needs to be done, people find excuses or reasons why they can't do something. Third, learning zone. If people are able to push through the excuses, then they will find themselves in the learning zone. Here people are happier as they make decisions, take actions, and during the process learn new things that will help them to achieve their goals. Fourth, growth zone. With this mindset, people are obsessed with making things happen. Instead of thinking, is it possible, they think, how are we going to get it done? Because not doing it is not an option. If you want to live your life to the fullest, then you have to operate with a mindset where you know that you will be able to figure things out. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I was able to give you a quick summary of what growth zone is and what role it plays in our life. If you enjoyed this
Reaching the growth zone through learning. Through learning and perseverance, we reach the growth zone. Here we will be able to realize dreams and achieve the goal. But before you do that, you will have to find a goal. So find it. Find out. Finding your goal. You can find your goal through three quick questions. First, what motivates you? This means what are those things which drives you, leads you and gives confidence in you. Second, what are your natural gifts? This means what are your ability, skills, etc. Third, what do others see in you? Now, after knowing answers, you have to do is just make union of these three sets to find your goal and see opportunities opening up for you. Next, let's dig into some real life examples. A British woman painted herself gold to get a job. A woman bagged a job after turning herself into a replica of the famous Fearless Girl statue outside her prospective employer's office. Canny J. Delaney is a 23-year-old has been hailed as giving the best job application ever after pulling off the stunt dressed as the iconic street artwork. She painted her clothes, shoes, and skin gold and mimicked the pose of the New York statue. She stood for hours outside the office of McCann Bristol, and bosses got impressed by it and gave her a chance. Let's look into another example. Carmen Nusi Peralta is a 19-year-old college student from Dominican Republic. Carmen overcame significant obstacles, broke out of her comfort zone, and became an inspiration for others. She was a 19-year-old girl being afraid of getting bullied. She resisted her life inside her house. An inspiration, her mom motivated her and provided her public speaking trainings and let her go out of her fear of bullying and public speaking. I would like to I would like to hand over the floor to my intern Purvi.
Okay, so I think we have gathered a lot of information through the presentations of my fellow teammates, like about what is comfort zone, what is fear zone, how these things are interrelated. Now, let's see how can we expand out of our comfort zone. So, is expanding out of our comfort zone is a complicated and a tough procedure? Let's find out. In gamification, onboarding is about getting the player to take the first steps towards playing a new game. Here are some of the guidelines for onboarding stage. When a player takes a small step necessary for onboarding, reward them. Apply the same principle when you're trying to step out of your comfort zone. Make the first step you have to take as easy as possible. As an illustration, if you want to start going to the gym, the first step you can take is simply make a list of gyms that are near your house or workplace. Give yourself a reward for venturing near your house or work, for venturing outside of your comfort zone. This can range from giving yourself a pat on the back to stopping by coffee house and getting yourself a victory cappuccino. Your life is made up of series of small levels, each one a little more difficult than the one before. After each small quest, there's an opportunity to rest before taking the next small quest. Then, after the player gets progressively more skilled at playing the game by completing these levels, they are presented with a boss fight. In gamification, there is something called a boss fight when it comes to stepping out of your comfort zone. The final goal that you're trying to achieve is your boss fight. Many of us uninstall the game without playing the boss fight and installs a new game where again we start from simple and this goes on. So this has to be changed and they take the same approach when it comes to stepping out of your comfort zone. Instead of tackling a huge challenge all at once, move towards it slowly by completing small challenges, each one a bit more difficult than the one before. Draw a new square. Moira Gairi recommends that you empower yourself to step out of your comfort zone by drawing a new square. Start by visualizing inside your comfort zone as shown in step 1. Now, if you are told to step out of your comfort zone, you may be hesitant to do so because you'll basically be stepping out into an abyss. That sounds really scary. No one wants to do that. Instead of trying to force yourself to step out into an empty place, draw a new bigger square, as shown in step 2. Then tell yourself that all you have to do is to step out into a slightly bigger square. Clearly identify what the new larger square consists of. This works because psychologically, it's a lot easier to get yourself to step out into another clearly defined space than it is to step out into a space with no present boundaries. Once the bigger square becomes your new comfort zone, draw an even bigger square around that. Then step out into the bigger square. Go from fearful to a stunt pilot. Shy and fearful as a kid, Cecilia Aragon was 11 when she learned to bicycle, and when she climbed a ladder, her fear of heights made her break into a sweat. I had to expand my comfort zone pretty dramatically, says Aragon, whose fear-smashing breakthrough came as a grad student when she rode a 4-seater Piper Archer plane and a friend handed her the control. She marveled as she piloted the plane with her friend's help over the Golden Gate Bridge and California coast. And upon their landing, she signed up for pilot cases. I was in heaven. Despite a 5'2" frame requiring a booster seat in typical planes, she became an aerobatic pilot so good at low altitude loops that spins, she won trophies and competed in the World Aerobatic Championships. I feel the fear, it's just that I use it. I use it to make my flying sharper rather than paralyze me, says Aragon. Find a role model who overcame big hurdles to do what you want to do. A 70-year-old woman once told stunt pilot Aragon that she loved to learn to fly, but thought she was too old. Aragon replied, "There's an 85-year-old aerobatic pilot having a great time of it, and she learned when she was older than you." The point, getting out of your comfort zone is easier if you know of someone who has paved the way. Become a mentor. An executive can mentor a mid-level business person, but a college freshman also can mentor a seasonal professional. Everyone has something to offer and to learn. Stern pilot Aragon says mentoring gives you confidence, makes you feel good, and puts you in contact with other people who can become your mentors. It's what I call organic networking, she says. Unplug tech gadgets for no tech Sundays. Digital Life columnist Monica Guzman found it difficult. I can behave like quite the tech addict, admit Guzman, who writes for Geekware and the Settle Times, practically speaking, shutting everything off, the phone, the laptop, the iPad, when the familiar cycle of questions still ran in my head. What's in the email, what's on the Twitter, what's on the Instagram and Facebook was excruciating. Emotionally, it was easy. A part of me had wanted for months to get really, truly disconnected, even if just for a while. Read a book a month. Consider Moonwalking with Einstein, which follows author Joshua Foer's quest to improve his memory for the US Memory Championship. Reading will increase your vocabulary, helps you to express your goals, open your mind to new ideas and perspectives. Studies show lifelong brain stimulating activities like reading could help stave off Alzheimer's disease. Memory is like a spider web. The bigger it grows, the more it catches. And the more it catches, the bigger it grows. Do everyday things differently. Take a different route to work. Try a new restaurant without checking the Yelp first. Go vegetarian for a week or a month. Try a new operating system. Recalibrate your reality. Whether the change you make is large or small, make a change in the way you do things on a day-to-day basis. Looks for the perspective for any change, even if it is negative. Take your time in making decisions. Sometimes slowing down is all it takes to make you uncomfortable. Sometimes slowing down is all it takes to make you uncomfortable, especially if speed and quick thinking are prized in your work or personal life. Slow down, observe what's going on. Take your time to interpret what you see, then intervene. Sometimes just defending your right to make an educated decision can push you out of your comfort zone. Think, don't just react. Don't do the work in small steps. It takes a lot of courage to break out of your comfort zone. You get the same benefits whether you go in with both the feet. A ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what a ship is built for. Possibilities and success. These two words ask us two questions. Who are you and who are you want to become? Many of the people spend their whole life without even answering a single of the question. If we start answering these questions and improving the answer of the questions according to ourselves, then definitely after time, we are able to see ourselves at a different and a better position. So now we are going to have a video of a very renowned person which will inspire you. Let's see.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise.
So, judges, are you aware of the poet of this pulchritudinous poem? Okay then, it's time to reveal the name.
As a girl, Marguerite Ann Johnson endured trauma and abuse that actually led her to stop speaking. But as a performer and ultimately a writer, a poet, Maya Angelou found her voice.
Maya Angelou was an American poet, memorist, and civil rights activist. She published several essays, books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television years. She received dozens of awards and more than 50 honorary degrees. When she was merely 7, she was raped by her mother's boyfriend. No child should have to experience such unfathomable agony. However, the situation escalated when she revealed this to her uncles, who beat up the man to death. Angelou felt responsible and stopped talking. Angelou remained mute for 5 years, but developed a love for language. Her transformation from a defeated and traumatized child to a person who expressed herself unequivocally and acknowledged that she was a survivor was not easy. A quote by this commendable lady says, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. To tell a story, you need to break your comfort zone just like this inspirational lady did. It may be difficult for some people than for others, but it must be done."
Thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry it exceeded the time limit. I think there were some network issues. That's why there were a lot of pauses in between. I think my slide was not visible to them on the correct time. That's why it's exceeded the limit. I'm so sorry.
Never mind पलक, but you did a great job. आपने बहुत अच्छी प्रिपरेशन की और बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन किया. टाइम को तो स्ट्रेच कर दिया और हमें बोलने के लिए अब कोई मौका नहीं रहा. Nevertheless, and you took almost 35 minutes to talk about, the dangers of coming out of the comfort zone, whereas the subject was stretch your comfort zone. So I thought, well, there is a comfort zone and you make it bigger, isn't it? But later on, of course, you gave a very nice presentation with examples and with theories also. I think Maya Angelou's example is very good. Oprah Winfrey is another. I have some suggestions that well, find role models and examples closer home. Well, in your age group, Greta Thunberg is an exemplary person, who came out of her comfort zone, and she's really stretched her comfort zone. The whole world is her comfort zone now. Malala Yousafzai is there. Again, closer home, we have Mother Teresa. We have so many. You just go through the Padma Shris on this Republic Day, and you'll feel that these people stretch their comfort zones. Closer home, you have examples of the young girls who get married, go into another home, because we don't have that kind of a choice. By and large, marriages are arranged. They stretch their comfort zones. Children who go to boarding schools, they stretch their comfort zones. And of course, the associated things that you said, that their confidence level rises, their creativity goes on. So I would just say that look for examples closer to your place and try to go out of your comfort zone. Go out of your family, go out of your house, go on the road, talk to someone strange, talk to people, school children who are going in the government schools or who are on the streets, and you will understand something. That is stretching your comfort zone. But anyway, you've done very well. Congratulations, Lakshay, Fida, Purvi, Rishika, and of course Palak. You आपने बड़ी मेहनत की है. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया इसके लिए और बहुत बहुत बधाई.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. Jyoti, ma'am, please share your views regarding the presentation and any question
And
you
the
would like to
presentation is
ask.
very good. Thank you, Renu, and thank you, team. Everyone, I think you put in a lot of effort. Exhaustive research has gone into collecting everything. The content was good. Like ma'am said, I was also looking for ways to stretch the comfort zone. Good. I just want to add one thing. We've been talking about stretching our comfort zones. Now, since we are dealing with adolescents here, I just want to add one thing. This stretching should be directed right. It should be in the right direction and constructive, because we come across adolescents who stretch their comfort zone without actually knowing what it means to them. For example, uh, trying drugs, trying alcohol, internet surfing. There are so many examples, and each day we come across new problems. So my only message to you all is, yes, it's very important to stretch your comfort zones, to increase the potential, to widen the options available. But at the same time, you must also be very careful that it is very, very constructive and it goes in the right direction. uh, any one of you, would you like to talk about any way you had stretched your comfort zone, and who's been the motivator here? Just one quickly, and then we'll wind up. A practical example wherein you've stretched your comfort zone, and who's been the motivator, who or what has been the motivator?
May I?
Yeah.
I was actually a very diffident and shy kid up till 7th, but a teacher at my school, one of the people I'm closest to, she's like a mother to me. She helped me stretch my comfort zone. I always yearned to debate. I always loved public speaking, but I could never manage to do it. It is when she pushed me in that environment, when I was actually exposed to that environment, was I able to learn something? Did I cross my comfort zone? That is one of my examples. And something that helps me is realizing I place knowledge above fear. And that is what helps me cross my comfort zone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
That's great,
Pratishtha.
Pratishtha. It was a good experience sharing.
Congratulations, everyone. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable time.
So once again, I want to thank our jury members, mentor and ANON team for this delightful evening and your valuable time for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Okay, team, you guys can leave. Thank you.